kept getting in fights throughout all of elementary till like early middle school. That's when I like started to calm down. Um, I didn't really see the point of fighting as much anymore, and just because I don't want I didn't want the problems. I never did. Also,
Yeah, I could see how you being an African.
mm,
Is we good? I could see how you being an African, getting into fights in school could have went south quick.
mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And you just being labeled as this problem child, labeled as this bad kid.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
What was it that kind of say? I must use the term saved because I deal with young black boys all day,
mm-hmm.
whether they African American, or just minorities,
Mm-hmm.
and we don't get a lot of chances to make a lot of mistakes, let
Right.
alone fight. Yo, what up? It's your man, Mr. Dean, a.k.a. Cross, and you're listening to the Man Up Club presents on Holy Culture Radio. Y'all know what it is, and you know what we do. Man Up Club is a mentor leadership organization for young black males between the ages of 13 and 24. We mentor in 4 different areas, which is life skills, social skills, academic discipline, civic responsibility, with 3 main goals: to get young men to graduate from high school, keep them out of the prison pipeline, and to get them to go on to college and have a trade after high school. Y'all can get at us at themanupclub.org. Feel free to tap in with us. Check out some of the things that we're doing with the young men. We have so many different programs: music production program, culinary arts cooking program, fitness program, construction program, tutoring program, free suits, all sorts of things in the Man Up Club. But anyway, tap in with us. I got a young man here this evening, Jesse Solomon, Gyamfi.
Yes, sir.
That's what's up, man. Also known as YG Solo.
Yeah, YG. Yes.
All right, 21 years old.
Yeah, I know.
That's what's up, man. So let's just talk. I want to just talk with you, man, a little bit about, you, what you've been doing, kind of how you grew up.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Some of the life challenges you faced.
Yeah.
A lot of times in America, man, people speak for black men, young black men. And that's that's a sad, unfortunate reality. But it's not often where we get to hear or have a platform, and definitely not a national platform, where you can hear from young black males themselves about their own life, their own stories, or what have you. And so people create these stigmatisms, and they come up with these preconceived notions about us and who we are. And a lot of people try to tell us, who we are. But this is an opportunity, for us to have our own voice.
Right.
You feel me?
Right.
Of course, we're like anybody else, and we have different stories, situations, scenarios, and circumstances in life that different people can relate to. But if you never talk to a young man, you would never know.
Right.
You feel me? So talk to me, man, a little bit about, your childhood, bro, and how you grew up.
How I grew up. I grew up in a 2-parent home. Both my parents are immigrants, coming from Ghana. They came here. At first, they went to New York, and then they came here because they heard Minnesota had better schools. And that's where they had me. And at first, they just had me, but I also have 3 other siblings, and they had to bring them from Africa and Canada all together to the States.
Okay.
And that's pretty much how I grew up.
So you grew up basically in a 2-parent home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So with that, so you talk about having better schools in Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
Does that doesn't ring true today necessarily in regards to the school system in Minnesota? Like one of the things that I've tapped into recently is I've been studying up on Minneapolis and some of the issues that the city's having.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I'm really taken aback by, and a lot of people are taken aback by, is the fact that education has dropped in Minnesota significantly.
Yeah.
So much to the point where places like Mississippi and Louisiana are actually doing better in education than Minnesota right now.
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't
but
know that.
it's that's where it's at now today. But I can relate to what you're saying because during that time, when you were coming up as a kid, we did have better schools. It's just unfortunate how things have deteriorated and went downhill since the George Floyd murder, and then also since COVID.
Yeah.
You feel me? So you came from Ghana, but you're in the United States as immigrants. And obviously, we got a lot of stuff going on with immigrants right now. Speak about that. Just touch on that a little bit. What's your thought process in regards to what's happening now with immigration and all the highlights that's been put on it?
I feel like it's a tough situation for everyone. Like, for the immigrants, some people are living in fear.
Yeah.
So they have that burden over their heads. And then on the other side of the coin, some people think that they're not supposed to be here, or they're criminals and that's their escape. That's why they're here. And I feel like it's all a big misunderstanding. And I feel like there can be a resolution that doesn't have to take the links that we're taking right now. But hey, that's where we are now.
Yeah. I think it's a tough deal, man. And I'm hoping that we can right that ship and kind of get it back on target of what it's supposed to be, which is united. That's the whole point, United States, right? So hopefully we can get to a place where we can, coexist and live under that in a place of harmony or what have you. So what was it like for you, being an immigrant coming from Ghana, being a little kid in the United States?
Oh yeah, actually, I wasn't an immigrant. I was born here.
You were born here, but your parents were
immigrants.
immigrants.
My parents were immigrants. I'm first generation.
Got you.
But I can touch on being a first generational everything.
Yeah, go ahead.
Basically, I grew up until like probably first grade, kindergarten. I grew up in a completely African household and environment. Pretty much the only place I went to was home, church, and any type of grad party or African event. So I was very much in a bubble during my childhood. I didn't really experience like what you would call white America or the rest of America until once I started going to school, and then they're like, oh, well, you got to learn proper English now because I only speak Chi at that time. My dad tried to teach me English, but then he realized that wasn't really going that well, so then he just left it up for the teachers to teach me English.
Okay.
So it was good. I felt like I was at home until I went to school. And then I realized, oh, there's a whole nother world that I'd have no clue about. And they think differently. They have different morals. They speak differently. And then I look different, of course. So that was definitely tough. My growing up in elementary, really throughout my whole school life. But yeah, that was my experience when I was growing up.
Yeah. So this transit. So yeah. You growing up in the bubble, I find that to be really interesting. When you talk about growing up in the bubble. So what was that you said that transition was hard for you, and then you opened up to a whole new world. Kind of break that down, unpack that for me a little bit, as far as you used to talk about these different morals and values and cultural differences and what have you.
I mean, there's like the obvious where. I'm growing up on African food, African like tendencies, like little like for example, like when we're surprised to be expressions. That was weird to all the other kids, like when I'm eating food, like for example, we eat a lot of food with our hands, like fufu and swallow and all those type of foods. When I was starting eating food with my hands, they looking at me like, what's wrong with this boy? Like, he don't got no manners.
Yeah.
And then when they're like asking for things, like Ghanaians are very like heavy on manners, so please and thank you after everything. Like my mom, even when she sends a text, just say like, how's your day, she'll say please and thank you at the end. It doesn't make no sense, but that's what they do. You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking at these kids whenever they're asking for stuff at the cafeteria, and they're like, give me this, give me that. I'm like, where's their manners? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it was a little confusing. And then of course speaking, they always knew like, oh, he's not normal. And then they always kind of outcasted me just also because how I spoke and how I looked. You know, I don't know if they were. I mean, they probably just didn't understand, or probably were just scared. Um, but that just it made it a little harder to make genuine friends because everybody already like knew each other. Their parents know each other. They go to each other's houses, and then I'm just like feeling like an alien that just there trying to fit in, but like I don't at all. So then it's like I try to for a long time I tried to become one of them, and ended up losing myself in the process. And that was actually like one of the big motivations as an artist to really just live in my truth and live authentically.
Now, you said a big statement there, man. You said I tried to become one of them. Talk about that. And what did you do? Like, because this is an identity crisis, is what I'm hearing you say you had.
Yeah, definitely. Like I try to dress like them. I try to act like them. I try to play the same sports they did because Africans, we love soccer. I tried playing basketball, knowing, damn well that my dad's 5'4". Like, you know what I'm saying? That was never gonna work. You know what I'm saying? I tried to just like try to fit in with like the cool kids at that time. But like, they always outcasting me, so I was always trying to like prove myself. Like when we at recess or like when it's time to like do anything competitive or something, I would just try to like show my worth and like prove myself to them. But then at the end of the day, like, yeah, you can show you like, oh, you have potential, but at the end of the day, like if they accept you or they don't, it's all up to them. You know what I'm saying? So it didn't really do much for me other than just like tire me out. You know?
I can imagine the stress level of that. Now, people can assume because you said, I tried to be like them. Who is them? And let me preface it first. When you say them, are you talking about American kids who are black, like African American black kids who hadn't been to Africa, don't know a lot about Africa?
Yeah.
Are you talking about white kids who, or are you talking about both? Like,
So like at first it started with like the white kids. Like to me, I seen them like as the people who were cool. You know what I'm saying? Everybody liked them. So at first it was them. Then I realized like quickly like you're never gonna be one of them, and they're never gonna accept you. So might as well act like the black kids. And then when I started acting like the black kids that I knew, they're American black kids and not African.
Right.
So then they were like, "Are you sure? Like you were part of this group of people?" You know what I'm saying? So they didn't really like fully accept. They embraced me more than you feel me the vice versa. But it's still like you're not really from this life. You know what I'm saying? And it didn't really get my philosophies on things because we're both raised completely different. You know what I'm saying?
We're going to tap back into that. You said a mouthful. It's your man, Mr. Dean. You listen to the Man Up Club on Holy Culture Radio. All right, it's your man, Mr. Dean, a.k.a. Cross, and I'm back with my man, YG Solo.
Yeah, know.
So, finish unpacking that, man, because we own to something. You coming in, you first generation born in the United States, and you're dealing with these different cultural aspects. You're dealing with white kids. You're dealing with African American kids. You're trying to find your place to fit in.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And you going through these stressful identity crisis, trying to fit in. Finish unpacking that for me, man. Let's go a little deeper.
Yeah. I was really just trying to figure out where home was because the school I was going to, especially throughout until probably late middle school, didn't even have any Africans. The only other immigrants that were in the school were Hispanic. There were only like a handful of other Africans, and they were never like from West Africa. They're all like Somali or Kenyan or something. So when I realized like, oh, like both sides really not gonna accept me fully, maybe one side might accept me more, I then just just became like my own entity. I felt like an alien. So like when you're, this is like any type of psychology. Like if you're the odd one out, and if a conflict or anything happens, you're gonna be the one that's gonna be singled out. That's survival mentality. Animals do this. It's always been this way for since the beginning of time. So then I found myself getting in fights all the time because one side was trying to, well, without other ways, just being racist, saying ignorant things that would anger me or provoke me, and then I'll end up fighting then. And then other side were kind of like trying to like test my gangster to see like, are you really about this? Like are you really the talk, like how you talk, how you sound? Are you really about this life? So I found myself fighting to defend my name as like some type of respect or code or something. But in reality, it was just like, I feel like I was fighting out of like a place of hurt because like at the end of the day, like I wouldn't be fighting if we could just all hang and just play games and stuff and like go play at recess. But they wouldn't like even like allow that. Like I try to join the game, they're like, get this guy out of here. You feel me?
Wow, yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So like if they would just let me play, it would have been, you feel me, cool. But then I'm like, all right, you're not gonna let me play, I'm gonna take your ball. You know what I'm saying? I'll do stuff like that. You feel me? Just to just be involved, and I did that. I got in a lot of fights. Like I remember there was one week I literally got in a fight like every single day of that week.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was bad at one point. I think I kept getting in fights throughout all of elementary till like early middle school. That's when I like started to calm down. I didn't really see the point of fighting as much anymore, and just because I didn't want the problems. I never did. Also,
Yeah, I could see how you being an African. We good? I could see how you being an African, getting into fights in school could have went south quick. You know what I'm saying? And you just being labeled as this problem child, labeled as this bad kid.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
What was it that kind of I must use the term saved because I deal with young black boys all day, whether they African American, or just minorities, and we don't get a lot of chances to make a lot of mistakes, let alone fight
at all.
You feel me?
At all.
So what was it that saved you from kind of getting caught up and identified as, oh, this dude, he's just a troublemaker? Going down this path, man, like you could have easily went down a path where they could have just labeled you as a trouble kid.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
I feel like they did, honestly.
Did they?
Yeah.
You know, with the fighting or what have you?
Yeah, they definitely did.
Okay, talk about how they labeled you, and then talk about how you were saved from, just all the drama.
Eventually, I just got the label, oh, he's the guy who just likes to fight, you know what I'm saying? He's always angry all the time. So then, like, for a long period of time, I just leaned into it, like, okay, if I'm this big bad guy, I guess I'm gonna live up to the name then, you know what I'm saying? But then, really, what saved me was my dad.
Okay.
Because after every fight, he would talk to me, or after disciplining me, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And after one, getting tired of being disciplined all the time and all the lectures, some of the stuff started to stick, like realizing like by you lashing out, you fighting and doing all these things, you're giving them the power and authority over you. And in my mind, I thought I was the one with the power because I'm the one beating up all these kids. Because I'll be honest, I've always been like a strong kid. Like I've always had my African genetics. So like I don't ever remember even losing a fight. So like I was even fighting like I was at even a point where like I was in like third grade fighting like middle schoolers. Like I would just fight anybody. You know what I'm saying? But then he told me like, you fighting, you lashing out, you getting in trouble, you giving them the power. Because guess what? You're the one sitting in office. You're the one paying for your consequences. you're the one dealing with all the repercussions. You know what I'm saying? So then after a while, probably like by the end of elementary, I started to click for me that like this fighting thing is not really, like really worth it for real. I don't really gain anything. Like I already know like there's nothing. There's nothing to prove at all. Like I can beat you up. There's nothing to prove. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, is if anything, I was just trying to prove it to myself. But like once you learn how to validate yourself,
Right.
you don't really need to validate others. You know what I'm saying? So it was a combination of my dad and like me just realizing like my a little bit my worth at that time. I still hadn't figured out my worth completely. I was still figuring it out throughout middle school and high school, but like I at least figured something out. You know?
Yeah, it's interesting because the whole time you're fighting for a sense of belonging and to belong
Yeah.
to, outside of your home, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
you got it at home. But I think what people need to hear is that even though you provide good structure for kids at home,
Mm-hmm.
and they have a sense of belonging at home,
Yeah.
they got to get outside the home and still find other areas and people to connect to, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying, where they feel comfortable.
Uh-huh.
Thank God that you got a dad who was at home
Mm-hmm.
and who was present in your life
Mm-hmm.
and who would discipline you, but at the same time also correct you and teach you.
Yeah.
Man,
Definitely.
that's so valuable.
Mm-hmm.
In your position. So, well, first of all, like in the Man Up Club, 80% of the kids or the boys who are in my program don't have fathers at home.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? Can you speak to the benefit of having your dad like lock in step with you right there?
Yeah, definitely. I think just having just a male role model in general, a person that like you can model yourself after, is extremely valuable because when you don't have that, you tend to go wayward. Like your definition of what a man is supposed to be is off of what you have created in your head and what you see in the world and what you see on TV and social media, which is not reality. And you just got here, so you don't know what reality is like. You don't know what a man is supposed to be. So seeing an example of a man who has integrity, a man who has self-control, a man who has morals, beliefs, and faith, like that already instilled in me the morals and the type of character that I would carry into my adulthood.
Yeah, I think that's really valuable, man. So you said you didn't quite figure it all the way out,
Mm-mm.
but
Mhm, nah.
you were coming into some level
Yeah.
of identity. So what were you into? Obviously, you was into music, or when did your music stuff develop, and what were the other things that you were into?
You see, actually, growing up, music was always part of my life. Like, I always enjoyed listening to music, making playlists and things like that. But it was never something. Actually, do remember in like second grade, I did have go through like a little phase where like, okay, I'm gonna become a rapper. Like, I would just go to school, tell everybody I'm gonna become the next rapper. I'm gonna be like Lil Wayne. Talent show come around, I'm over here rapping in front of the class, saying, I'm gonna become a rapper, start wearing skinny jeans, all that. But then like I then started playing sports and I fell in love with sports more than music. So then sports became the center of my life for the majority of my childhood through my teenage years and or even to college. So for at first it was like I said, it was I tried to become a basketball player, realizing that was not going to work out. Uh, I tried football, but I didn't understand the rules. So then I was like, all right, let me just stick to my basics. Soccer was my first sport I ever played. I played that from like seriously from around fourth grade till halfway through high school, and I was like, I wasn't just playing for the school either. I was playing for like Minnesota Thunder Academy. I was playing for like a bunch of different academy teams, training privately, and I was doing really well for myself. My next step was to play for the Minnesota United um, their development team. They're U14, they're U 16 teams, to try to break into playing pro. Because my end goal as a kid, my dream was to become a pro soccer player. So I wanted to break through like an academy and make it that way. But then in high school, I had a situation where um, I didn't have the funds to play for these academies, because these academies aren't cheap. They're like,
yeah, I know.
like they're at least
Soccer costs some money.
at least 3,000 a year, and I was even on a scholarship, and it was still tough. You know what I'm saying? So one thing led to another. I end up getting dropped from the academy, not for like skills or anything, but just um, family problems. And from then I was like, I was also playing high school soccer, and I didn't really know where to go with that. So then I was like, let me switch to football. I played football for the rest of high school, and I actually went to college to play football as well. I went JUCO because we didn't really have that many opportunities presented by our high school. But I did that, but then I realized that my heart wasn't really fully in it. In my second year in college, I left, and then eventually I was walking to a studio one day with my homie, and then it was history. I seen the process of making a song, and I instantly fell in love.
That's what's up. We're gonna be right back. So you stepped into the studio, and it was history.
Yes, now.
Talk to me.
Yeah, I stepped in the studio. Was actually the only reason I went was because my friend, and my friend at that time, he wanted to pursue rapping, and me just being a supportive friend, I'm like, shoot, I'll tag along. Just what I'm saying, just to be there to for support, And then I watched him create a song for the first time, and I seen the process, and like it's like a spark. I had a spark, and even that, like, I didn't even wait to even get home. That moment, just in the studio, listening to the beat, I started writing my own songs, and I've always like had a knack for like writing down and turning my thoughts into what would be called songs, but I didn't even know that's what I was doing at the time. I would just let me write down my thoughts, and then let me make it sound good by like rhyming and stuff. Then I realized, oh wait, that's how you write a song, and started writing my own songs for about like 3 months to just figure out like
How old were you then at this time?
I was 20.
Okay.
20, yeah. I was just trying to figure out like what type of artist am I, what type of music am I trying to make, what impact, what message I'm trying to have, what genre I'm trying to I want what I don't even know what I am as an artist, so, or what artists are supposed to do. So for the first like 3 months I was just figuring out who I was as an artist. Then I remember one day I went to the studio, recorded my first song. It was horrible. You get me? And then I came back a second time, and it was actually a pretty good song. I'm like, okay, I might have something. That gave me a little bit of confidence. And then the next time I was in the studio, I was recording. At first, I started with just making just like rap. Like it was like almost Detroit style rap. But then I was like, let me try some Afro beats, because I had just written a song that it felt like it came naturally to me. I didn't have to think of bars or think of, some double entendre or something. Like the song just flowed. It just came, the melody came to my head and it flowed. And then when I did it in the studio, before, like I had my homies in the studio and they were like, oh yeah, it's cool. Yeah, it's a nice song. But then like I started this song, it's called Bad Man. And I looked up after like the first like couple bars, everybody is still going crazy like, yo, you found your sound, I'm like, okay, maybe I'm doing something right. And I finished that song, and that ended up being my actual first song that I ever released. And from there, I figured out like my sound, my purpose, my message, what I'm trying to portray in my music. And yeah, from there it was up.
Okay, that's what's up, man. That's what's up. So you've been an artist for about a year now, then. Okay, and so I'm into music, so I know music. I've been doing music for probably 35 years to date how old I am and how long I've been in the business, man.
Right.
But yeah, that's what's up. I like that. So where do we go from here with you? Like, what's life like for you now? Like, what's the goals? What's the aspirations? You know what I'm saying? What's the 5-year plan?
Life right now, 5-year plan. Well, I'll start with life right now. Life right now, I feel like I'm in the calm before the storm. The storm being success and being at the top of the game, especially when you talk about the music industry. I feel like right now I'm putting all the foundation pieces all together and laying them out so I can step on them and make my way to the top. 5-year plan. I for sure have the rest of this year, next year mapped out completely.
Okay, give me that.
The rest of this year, I'm planning on dropping a few more singles and then a project at the end of the year called Independence. This project is it's a showcase my versatility and a side that I don't feel like I've shown as an artist. It's a lot more raw, a lot more honest. I mean, I'll say my last music is very honest too, but it's no filter. You know what I'm saying? It feels more authentic to me than my previous work. And then from there, my plan is to really next year take the music industry by storm. Like, I've had songs written, recorded on my phone for over a year that I've been waiting to drop, but I've just been patient and strategic. When the time comes, I know God will tell me when it's a good time to drop it. But I want to start the year hot, dropping another EP with singles, then lead singles throughout the year into the summer, and then drop this next project, a mixtape called Love and War. And from there, something in my gut tells me that that's going to open a lot of doors and give me a lot of freedom to do what I want creatively. And how I see it going from there is, it's not that like I'm just going with the flow, but I have a loose script of how I want to go, starting to work on an album, starting to get connections with distribution companies, things of that nature. But at the end of the day, like, I believe that it's all God's timing. So if it goes exactly how I see it, then God bless. If it doesn't, then God bless. I feel like it's all part of the story to make me into the artist I'm supposed to be.
Yeah. I mean, it's all the process when it comes to this music game and what have you. Do you have anything else that you're focused on besides music, or is it just everything's just music?
No, I mean, right now music is definitely my main focus, but I'm also a businessman. Like, at the end of the day, like, yeah, I love to do music, but if it's not paying the bills, like, you gotta figure something out. You know what I'm saying? You can't feed yourself off of dreams. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, like, I've been definitely looking into other ways to diversify my incomes by starting like my own business, like simple things like a snow removal company, land working on landscaping. Of course, as my music grows, working on a clothing brand. I don't really want to make merch like most artists do. I want to make clothing that people want to wear, not just slapping my name and my face on some clothes.
Gotcha. So you're talking more design.
Yeah, I definitely want to get into fashion. I want to be in a place where I'm going to like Fashion Week in New York and being a part of the creative process, like a Pharrell, or like a Kanye.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, those guys are definitely entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna ask you a series of questions, and I want to get your feedback. What's the hardest thing you've ever been through in your life?
Hardest thing I've ever been
Yeah.
through. I'll say when I sold out a show for the first time.
Okay.
Yeah, that was like, I say it's the hardest thing to do because when you're a new artist, nobody really knows you're like, see what knows like what you have to offer, like what you can really do.
Right.
So like you're pretty much just trying to convince people to support you. And at first, like, you start with family, you get a bunch of yeses, a bunch of nos, and then you try to talk to strangers, get a lot of nos, and it's like it was learning to have real like thick skin, not to take nothing personally, and then on top of that, juggling just the performance and the music that I was creating and producing, making sure everything's on point, and then on top of that, having to put the mask of an artist, a rapper, because as a rapper, you can't have no bad days, like especially like if you make a song about your bad day, like that's who you are, like that's your whole identity for your career. You're known as that bad day guy, like you feel me, like you get heartbroken, you're known as the heartbreak guy, you know what I'm saying? So like I didn't want to ever build my brand on negativity. I wanted to build it on prosperity. Yeah, of course, other things I went through, but Afrobeat is a happy type of music. It makes you forget about your problems and think about the good in life. So it was just about learning how to carry myself as an artist, keeping the professionalism while also keeping that swagger, while also executing, making sure everything's on point from my side, on the business side, promotion, everything.
So, like, when you done this sold out show, tell me how first of all, what was the sellout? How many people?
I say it was like almost 200 people.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
For a local artist, that's really good.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I was actually opening up for Kitty.
Okay.
Which is a Ghanaian act. What was the question one more time?
No, I was just curious of what the sellout crowd was. And what was that like when you sold out your first?
Yeah.
Your first thing, like, I mean.
Yeah, I would say like there's nothing like it. Like the rush you get when you step on stage, especially when the crowd responded like the way they did. Like before I even touch the mic, you have people chanting your name. Like that isn't a normal experience for humans. Like, to step on stage, tell them to raise your hand, to jump up and down, say this, say that. If you really think about it, that person holds a lot of power in that situations, and that can go to people's head for better or for good. So it's like it felt like I was on cloud nine, and I loved the experience of performing. I just think that you just got to learn how to. I said you got to learn how to come off that roller coaster, because I will even say with myself as an artist, like when you step out stage and you face like the real world, something I noticed like if kind of like things hit a little harder, because you were on such a high and then you go to a low. It's like, dang, like. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was just on Mount Everest. Now, you feel me, going through all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like realizing, like, life is a roller coaster. You know what I'm saying? There's ups and downs. You got to figure out how to appreciate both sides, because the highs wouldn't be as sweet if it wasn't for the lows,
Yeah, life is definitely about a roller coaster, and it's all about creating a balance. And I think that's where a lot of artists get caught up, is because they're in control on that stage. They're in their element, and the world is what they created it to be at that particular time. And while that is reality for the moment, it's not sustained.
Yeah, at all.
So you talk about having a career in music, you have to be able to sustain that lifestyle, and that's where a lot of artists struggle and get on drugs and start doing a lot of things because they're still trying to chase
the highs.
That high, man. We'll be back in a minute. So you're a man of faith.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Definitely.
What does that mean to you, first of all?
That means I believe that I'm saved. Um, it believes that it means that I believe that this life that we see isn't what it appears to be. You know what I'm saying? It means that the way you live your life determines how things are gonna go after your life. You know what I'm saying? It means having a relationship with your creator. Yeah.
Okay. And for you, who was that?
I believe it's Jesus.
Okay.
Hmm.
Unapologetically.
Definitely.
Yeah. And so was that instilled in you at such a young age? Did you grow into that? You was raised in that? Did you rebel against that? Did you come up with that on your own? Is that your own personal relationship? Like talk me through that, because that's a very interesting topic in modern day culture.
Hmm. Definitely. I say I grew up in a church.
Okay.
Actually, I went to at first. I grew up in a Pentecostal church that was very Ghanaian. Like everybody went there was Ghanaian. They even spoke they spoke Chi in the sermon. So they'll have someone speaking Chi, saying the sermon, and someone translating in English or vice versa. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I started, and then my parents then went to a different church called CCC, which is still a lot of Ghanaians there, but um, it's more for everyone. You know what I'm saying? If you don't speak Chi, you might not understand the cultural differences and the language, of course. We go to that church. And growing up in this church, I was always around it and I always understood what was going on around me and I asked questions. I feel like some of those questions got brushed over, some of them got listened to and I got answers. But like I feel like as a kid, I believed, but like I don't think I was fully sold. Like if I really asked myself deep down, like, are you really sold on this? I probably would lean towards, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? And then I feel like for me, my faith grew once I went to college and I was like alone and I was isolated. Then it like made me realize like if you don't get a connection with your creator right now, um, life is not gonna look how you want it to look because you're drifting away from home by doing things that you have no business doing. You know what I'm saying? And it's like I feel like that tethered me back to home and um, helped me respect myself. To realize that I have a bigger purpose than what I see, bigger than you want to be an artist or whatever, you want to be successful, rich or whatever. Like there's something way bigger than all of that. You know what I'm saying? And realizing that like this to me like this, it might sound a little pessimistic, but this life is meaningless for the most part. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's interesting to hear you talk about faith, in modern day culture with a lot of, first of all, a whole bunch of different religions going on, but even with, just the generation in which you live in. How would you assess your generation when it comes to faith? Like, what is your take on your generation and their faith walk? Do you see, your generation walking away from Christ, walking towards Christ, or tapping into all sorts of religions? Like, what's the temperature for you?
Here's the thing. I don't think my generation is like really like opposing to like Christ and religion. It's just that the fact that the environment they live in is so worldly, and that we live in a completely different time in life. Like before, like go to pioneer days. Like the only type of influence you getting is your family and your neighbors that live like 50 miles away. Everything else is, you know what I'm saying, what your dad teaches you about the Bible, your mom teaches you, that's what you know, that's what you grow up on. But today we got cell phones, so like you got this different religion you learning about, you got this different spirituality you learning about. but then you also live in just the worldly things where it's normal to go to the club, it's normal to dress a certain way, it's normal to drink, smoke, do drugs, do all types of crazy stuff because that's what social media promotes. That's what is pushed to us, almost like propaganda. You know what I'm saying? And it's like you can't avoid it. Even if like me as an artist, like if I want to unplug from that stuff, I can't. You know what I'm saying? Because I gotta post my music on social media. That's how I promote my music. And then like even when you just don't want to see those things, you'll catch yourself subconsciously scrolling. Like it's programming. So it's like it's harder for you to tether to faith. I feel like nowadays because the world is so worldly. Um, but I feel like it's just like if people my generation had a better introduction and a better teacher and people that can ask questions without feeling judged, like genuine questions. Because like some people I've tried to have faith talk to them, and then like, oh my gosh, I don't, so I don't want to talk about it because they think I'm gonna judge them or like crucify them for their opinion, whether they think they're atheist or Muslim, whatever. I don't care for that. I'm not here to change your mind or even convert you. That's not my goal. But I'm here to tell you what I know. You know what I'm saying? That's the best I can do. And I was a point where I did think I could like change people by just telling them the faith and like telling them to save themselves. But that's not gonna work like that. All you can do is just offer the information that you know, say your testimony, and if that speaks to them and God chooses to touch their heart, then he's gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? And you having faith in your God to do so is what you should have instead of just going around judging people.
So so with all that being said, like, and you talked about the culture, social media, being inundated with all of this, new information or whatever. So how do you stay grounded in your faith in the midst of all of that?
For sure, how I stay grounded is, of course, doing my own work, reading the Bible, what I'm saying, praying every day, um, going to church when I can, and when there's opportunities arise for me to share my testimony or share my point of view or share my information, I do so. But then we can't sit and act like that's enough because there's other players on the field. There's people trying to take you away from the faith. People trying to trick you into doing things that don't align with your faith by making it seem like, oh, this is normal. Like, you know what I'm saying? God would like this. Like, no. That's the thing is you got to realize that what is normal and what isn't. You know what I'm saying? When you really look at it, like clubs, that is not normal. Who goes around, plays loud music, stands there and just stares at each other for 3 hours? They don't do the way we do that. They don't even dance no more. Like it don't make sense. But because you're drunk, because you're off all these drugs and things, you think that this is normal. It's not. You know what I'm saying? So it's realizing like some things that have been normalized today aren't really normal. And then unplugging from social media, putting your phone down. There's honestly like especially like Sundays, I don't even like to look at my phone. Like I'll literally throw my phone in a different room and go live life just because nowadays our phones are extensions of ourselves. Sure. It's not even a tool anymore. Sometimes we just need to disconnect and just live real life.
Yeah, you said a mouthful with that, man, and I appreciate it. That's very disciplined. You're talking about a level of discipline, over your life. So early on, we talked about, identity, trying to find a self-identity. You're only 21. You tapped into your music for about a year now. Obviously, you got growing to do and some more things to see. How's that self-identity right now?
Self-identity?
Yeah, because you were talking about fitting in. So at 21 years old right now, have you found yourself? Do you understand yourself? Do you know who you are? Or are you still trying to figure it out?
Yeah. I say personally, I feel like I figure out myself out a lot. Like I know who I am now. I definitely do. And I also think that, you throughout your life, you don't stop figuring yourself out. There's still things to learn and grow. I think that I understand why I do the things I do and why I think the way I think. and I also understand how I'm perceived by the world. So once you understand those things and realize like your perception to the world might be completely different from who you are, and just being confident that you know who you are and the world is not going to change you whether they think you're a certain way or not. Just being confident and just grounded in who you are. There's nothing really that can really stop you, from just being yourself. A lot of people are scared to be themselves because they're scared to be judged. But like, if you die tomorrow, like they might mourn you tomorrow, but like after that, they're not going to care about you, and vice versa. So like, why would you care so much about someone's opinion that if something were to happen to you, they might cry for a day and then forget about you tomorrow? You know?
That's real. So if people want to hear your music, man, or tap in, let us know
Yes.
how people can tap in.
Yes, sir. It's YG Solo on all platforms: Apple Music, Spotify. Find me on YouTube as official YG Solo, and Instagram solo_golden kid. I just dropped a new single called Pressure, and I'll definitely be dropping another single around my birthday, November 5th. So keep a lookout for that one. Sure.
That's what's up. It's your man, Mr. Dean, a.k.a. Cross. You're listening to the Man Up Club Presents on Holy Culture Radio. Tap in with us every Thursday. Make sure y'all reach out to our website if you like what you hear and you want to be a partner or sponsor the program, or just make a donation to the Man Up Club. Feel free to do that on our website, which is themanupclub.org. Once again, that's themanupclub.org. Feel free to follow us on social media as well. Tap into our IG at themanupclub.mn. Once again, that's themanupclub.mn. You're listening to Cross, a.k.a. Mr. Dean, and we out.